Good morning, queers. Anyone else who may be watching this? This is Rebel, and um, if you were one of the like three people maybe that looked at, oh, I got the wrong. Great start. um, I watched my last stream. Um, kind of see where I ended off. Kind of stuck in my code, looking at trying to find what for some reason why it wasn't updating. And that was so when I had moved the build views out, which I'm currently in the process of like destroying right now. um, the thing is, the updates here, this file needs update, and the update files. It was because I have that implemented here, the template data, and I think EJS data was called something else before. But in either case, those weren't updating for each of the views, so they would start out with just the plug files information, and then after, so the first time it would save it correctly, and then immediately, 5 seconds later, would erase it because it would switch back to the default. And it looks like my camera is freaking out here. But that was an easy fix. Let's see. Now this is getting more and it's funny because I keep intending to go back and refactor and clean it up and move things around. And I'm still at the phase where like every step along the way I start cleaning a little bit up, and then I dig into some mess, and dig into some code, and I make an even bigger mess than I start out with. And just now, actually, that's kind of what I'm doing here. I decided, now that I'm getting a big enough variety of view types, and the structure for all of them is not going to be identical. So, for example, text views and button views and empty divs, spaces, layout views, but most things are going to be able to have, a single HTML tag, and like they'll be composed of a single HTML tag and its attributes. However, some views, such as like an image button, instead of making like a single, I could do with a single button tag and like, or an a tag or whatever, and give it like a background image, or I could do it with an image, make it clickable. Though I think it's better to structure it where I have a button which defaults to a text button because it only needs one tag. However, like with the image button variant, to have a nested image tag, and just things like that. And I know because it's this early on, I don't know, maybe I'll wind up with 50 or so different view types, and there's definitely enough variety to justify fundamentally changing this whole EJS data parsing thing. So that's where we're at. I figured just jumping into it with a depending on the tag name, jumping into it with a switch case. So even on tags that are, or even on elements that only have a single tag format, or things that are similar, the attributes will like necessarily be mean different things or behave different ways in CSS than we expect them to, building them with like the same namesake in XML. For example, like the alignments. So here, this one, right now it just takes it's the CSS properties. It's just a bunch of these like static return functions that will like fix, they'll fix the value to its type and stuff, or the value to its for, and depending on its type, and it worked temporarily. It definitely worked. I'll show where I'm at currently. This was never intended to be like the permanent approach. I wanted to see all of the components come together and start actually taking their default values, their system style values, the overridden values, and the custom like inline values or inline attributes, applying all of them correctly, and then displaying them, organizing all of the EJS files, and then displaying it appropriately on the browser. So everything is rendering correctly, though largely unstyled and pretty ugly looking. We will fix that now. But in lieu of doing this, so things, like the alignment we're saying. So currently this one, you'll notice the alignment depends on, so like in a linear layout, because they're flex, and because a linear layout is a flex box and it depends on the orientation. If it's horizontal, then the justify content versus align items switch depending on the orientation. With a frame view, however, they're static. So align or justify content will always be vertical, and align items will always be horizontal, unless that's backwards. But so it's static on one, it's dynamic on the other, and those sort of things. So it's getting convoluted and logic heavy enough that not only will I'm going to first build these all up here, I might just give each individual element its own builder function or helper function in its own file that I can just refer to each one depending on which one, depending on the tag. That said, let's check out where I got to now. I do need to restart the website. This is still on the temp one because I haven't implemented the new build defs in XML yet. And then here on, I need the development server. So this is like the namespace server plus the live development environment. And here, so this is the ugliness we have currently, and I will share it, but just not this moment. The frankly beautiful looking, nicely animated previous version that was just a bunch of like static EJS with a page builder in it, and was connected to the database, connected to the network manager and stuff, and the authentication server. Right now we're not connected to anything, but we're stepping through. It's finally putting the whole like app builder together, which is an enormous step. In fact, the paging and stuff is working. So once we work on styles a little bit, I'm going to work on styles. I'm going to pause and implement the multi-pagers. and then get back to styles. So I've got like a really full looking front end that I can just easily throw some new XML, like new layout files in there, and start building pages quickly. Then I can start working on some of the connectivity and the other features of the FC apps. So let's see. It's beautiful. So this one right here, it runs for 4 minutes. I did fix another thing. Basically, this is so messy. The only ones I need you to pay attention to is right here in this source folder. So all the way, I'm gonna hide views, hide public, hide the libraries, hide the build folder, hide the database, hide the backup views. This is all of, okay, that's all of the, like, the build definitions and the, actually, yeah, I guess just the website servers, the database server, WebSockets, authentication. Oh, these are most of the servers actually right here. But inside of this source folder, this is how a pretty new project will look. In fact, the only things that I've added to it are this first one, the splash screen, which is 5 empty divs. I could add a couple more, whatever. I think those 5 divs are what get animated if you saw the white circles. Of course you did. The white circles that were spinning around. And then right here is just that text on the middle of the page that says this fully connected. I'm going to change those to strings by IDs. Same with the font, but for now this is good enough. I know that they're working at least. This is the whole page. You know, it starts with a frame view. It's centered horizontally and vertically, so there's the example right there. The frame view, you can change those to wrap content, fill parent. They're fill parent by default. I think for every view, it's just fill parent. You can do those, and then of course any CSS number, value, and ID reference. But that's how simple that is. Literally a frame view with 4 empty views and then the text. And that's the simplicity I want to see going forward. With this one, because I put these 2 tags here, the controller means it does have a JavaScript file associated with it with a class, with a controller type class. Currently, the only ones are page, but I do have multi-pages, the slider pages, and I will be adding. I'll have to add more, but currently we just have the page, and then that's right here, this splash screen. This old networking stuff I'm not going to keep here. Literally the only thing I have is it extends page. I have it logging for whatever reason. Extends page, it has the on init, on load, and on close. And then the on load function waits 4 seconds and then calls context to attach the login screen. Previously there was no login screen, but now that there is a login screen, basically any screen that you, or any controller or any controller extension you have, just send it the ID to the context attached and it will work. Now if it's a subcontext, such as like a multi-view or something, the subcontext is the context for each page or fragment that gets put into it. So this splash screen page being like attached to the main context, which is, that's in the output in the build. I guess I'll show. It builds the app right here. Right, this login page and splash screen page, those are generated. They're generated and appended here, and then once you edit them and stuff, then you can have, the customization that we expect. So switch it from like a normal page, you change the extension or you change the extends or whatever to page slide or something, and then it attaches the initial one. This is static in that build views thing currently. I'll have to update that obviously, and I think that will also come along the um, with the build def XML parsing. That's all that is. It's that simple. I'm not going to look at the paging and stuff right now. There's a page manager, network manager, tweening library. There are other things that I'll put in there, but currently I did clean up tween, and I'm pretty proud of this. This took a lot of time, but I drew in the notes like each function. So I kind of went a little bit overboard with the documentation here, but it's very straightforward. You look at one through from somewhere else in code, and it just tells you like the shape of that of that function. So that's cool. I don't know why this. I'm not gonna worry about that. Back to here. It waits 4 seconds, and then it calls login. Context attached that login. Then the login. Oh, it also has the splash screen. It also has the style explicit. Any layout file that has a style explicit tag set, which can only be on the frame view on the container views. So the frame view, layout view, constraints, and grid for now. Oh, and card. Only for those ones. If you have a style explicit, not card, I apologize. That will also create a CSS file, which is this one. And here's where I did the animation. And so I have the splash screen content is going to be that first div inside of the splash screen template, because the template is the root for each one that gets attached to the page. So the root element is going to be this dash content or hyphen content. Then I have, address each div, and the reason I did each one instead of, that was to like spread the timing out a little bit, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 0.1, or 1.0. That was just like spread the timing out, so when I like reload, they do that. It's pretty neat looking. I like it. Then that's literally all it was just you can stick your styling for that layout inside that style explicit. Then the other one I just added a login page, which is a centered horizontal, centered vertical, just a card that I stuck a linear view with those text views, input text, text buttons, and just now switched it so it actually adds, go back to that build views. This is where this came into, instead of just making everything, it was like text view was span and everything else was a div. So now it's at least got some variety there. I'm going to have to obviously work on doing that thing to change it. But that's where I'm at here. That's where this sort of ugliness comes into play, because I have to restyle a ton of elements that I previously styled. The cool thing is, once I do them here and I stick them, styling things is at least the system defaults and stuff. So I have these system styles, and this whole thing generates this style file. So it starts out with all of the fonts that you add, and then these system variables right here. Let me slide this over here. This under system styles variables, those are these variables. I got a bunch of default font sizes, default background, and I have... I guess it's just fine. Alright. I might need to rethink this variable thing. That's in the future. Just some default colors, like default system colors as well. These other colors are the ones that get stuck into these resource files. There's a color file, fonts file, themes, and variables, and string. So all of those resource files, I've got here in colors. This radish and greeny are just these two colors. I'm not going to dig back into those. I dug into them last time. And then here, so inside the themes, these are made from the themes file, so we skip those and go to these system classes. So like here for text inputs, currently these are the values that I have for... Oh, I just somehow broke my other mouse stopped working, so I dug this piece of... I shouldn't call it. I like this mouse, actually. I dug this one, and this one's starting to act all janky, too. This is the style I get, currently, and it looks like shit. Let's start fixing that. I can't really split screen you guys, so let me stick this over here. Oh, actually, I can go like this. This content main is where everything gets stuck. Inside here, you have this frame view with the login content. So that hyphen content is that root element of that XML document. That's for login. Inside here in the card. Oh, I did add certain things like the card radius and stuff. So that goes to this like default card radius, which it shows as 12 pixels. That's not what we're working on though. Let's go to this linear view. Let's check it out. Yep, so that one's vertical. That one's working fine. So I've got this justify item center. I did not add a... Let's fix that. Align content center. Align items. Align item center there. And this one should not be justify items, it should be justify content. Right? The fuck? Yeah, that should be justify content, because if I made this taller... What in the fuck? Okay, so there's the first thing. On the linear view, I need... I don't need that style thing up anymore. I got justify items and align content. I did those backwards. It's align items and justify content. I think let's go ahead and restarting. So it's gonna rebuild that, it says. Give this a try. Wait for it to come back up. Go to this one. Take this one. It's only adding the justify content. I wonder if I never added. Let's go to that layout. Gosh, I got so much shit here. Oh yeah, I only got alignments horizontal. Oh, because I didn't want a vertical alignment, but I will do just to test it. Resave that. It should automatically, actually before I save and force it to, let's test it out. I think that one's just correcting it, but doing it silently. Whereas every... Oh, that's card, duh. Well, shit. I guess I do need to save that and figure out where to make that update. I know exactly where to make it updates. This might be a little boring, but this is just for, hey, centered. Look at that. Beautiful. Linear view. Let's make the height something big. Nice. Okay. Whoa. Alright. That's not what I expected. This is my vertical is justify content. Maybe it wasn't align items. Maybe I do align content. Nope. Not that. I know there's text align, but I don't want to do that. Why does align item center make it... Does that like change the display type of the children? Is that why they're not stretching instead of... Fucking know. And the reason I'm fine with leaving it just this way, because that's what I was saying, you know, it depends on the orientation of the linear view too. So once I get here and make a linear view thing, in there and only in there I will specify. Fuck it. I guess whatever. I mean, it's working. That's good enough. That's all I could really ask for. Into the backup. Hang on. Don't need this build up here. The views backup. Oh, it's in public actually. The CSS file for login. Let's check out the... Oh my gosh. This card and text line center, don't care. I need to stop and get some coffee. It's almost 4 a.m. We have a brief intermission while I at least go reheat up the coffee because I know it's probably starting to get cold. I think it turned off about 30 minutes ago. This is just like the old styles I did before, and frankly, it looked really nice. So, uh, watch. Instead of doing website temp, I'll do website. And I think just doing that, if I go like this, bitch ass. Oh, because I really gotta fix all this. Let's turn the database on. Run server and the authentication server. Run authentication. Maybe that's the reason it's not serving anything. Saying everything's a bad request. Check out the website. One's 9003. Using the public scripts. Let's go to the page. Scripts, class, scripts, login, script. What? Oh. So here's part of the problem. In the views backup, the sections, head, scripts, right here. I don't see no scripts. Class, what? Oh, I see what I'm doing. Damn it, Rebel. Hold up. Views new, because that's what I'm supposed to be working in. This is so dangerous. Do it. Do it. Stop you. Stop you. Stop you. There. So I changed that one to views new and this one to views. Just views. Now, turn off back on. Oh, I guess I never turned it off. Whatever. Database. I don't think I need the database server yet, but I do need website. Now, let's see. There we go. This is what it looked like before. I don't know why that font took a minute to load. There. So this is kind of what I'm going for. There's no actual functionality. I think the login, like if I logged in here, it would connect to the auth server, but then just puts me to a blank page for the web app, and that's not necessary. The rest of this, like create account, these are just stubs that I stuck here. But it's got the animations, a nice like across the app style, and these are the styles I'm gonna be stealing. So the easiest way, I think, to just look at all of these. Of course, let's compare some of these to the system styles for a text inputs. Not with these pseudos. So cursor pointer, sure. Sure. Border, none. Sure. Padding inline. Got 10 there. 5 there. Those are about the same. Border radius. Got 8 pixels there, 5 on this. I think it'll be okay. And the background theme text box color is medium dark. Okay. What color? Text color. I need to do like a hint color and stuff too. So these actually should be okay. And this is... Oh. Something else I thought about too, actually. Let me stop this, because I no longer... Oh, I'm not even on the database. The auth, don't care. So dev mode and website are the only ones that I'm going to want. Let's unfuck this views thing. Rename this back to views. Backup. And then the actual views, rename that to views. Then I can put this back to website temp. Now everything should be what we had before. Instead of working in the public folder, working in the build folder, and views has been corrected. Here, as much as I like this, I think there's a bigger thing going on here. The class there is text box. Oh, I need to set types on the input. That's a probably very important thing. So other than system styles, there's a second major component, and that's the to building the layout components, and that's the layout definition file. So down here, the different validation types, so like a CSS color, a CSS number, a CSS dimension, those things. Inside of the different types, the attribute groups that are applicable to, so like basic attribute and drawable attributes can both be put on a certain element type. The element type here, the input, basic and text attributes. I need to make one that just says like input attributes, I think. Because that'll have a hint color, a type. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. Input attributes. Let's just copy this shit. Input attributes. String font. Oh, there's the text color. I'll call it hint color. That's a CSS color. And then, oh, type is going to need to be a string. And that's all we need. So I need to make that a required string for a type. And actually, instead of string, I'm going to have to make it a new CSS validation value. So that's going to be CSS input type. So I got hint color or hint color and type. So CSS input type. Go down to validations. Alignment can fuck right off. CSS input type. There, that other one went away. Oh my gosh, I can't type. Extend string. Do not want numbers there, and that can only be what? There's text, password, email, text. Oh, not space. What? God damn it. I need to learn how to type. Text, password, email. I don't fucking know. What other types? What other types of CSS input or HTML? I'm trying not to be like, oh my gosh, my camera is screwed. I see what's happening, guys. Let's see. Uh-oh. I don't know how long it's been like that. I may need to restart the stream. I will be right back.